It's also important that we love our heart this Valentine's Day because it might be stress, not love, that's making your heart feel a little bit funny. So joining us with tips to de-stress your ticker, clinical psychologist Elaine Ducharme. Hello.
Hello, Seth.
Pleasure to have you here. Let's talk about what things in women lead to heart disease and things like heart disease.
Well, first we have to recognize that heart attacks are the #1 killer for women.
And often when women get strokes or heart attacks, they're much milder than men, and sometimes you don't even know you have them.
Exactly. So women have to learn to pay attention. But there are a number of things that can lead to this, and part of it is lifestyle, exercise, diet, those kinds of things. But stress is one of the major issues, besides genetics. Genetics certainly plays a part.
That's true. But if we can, one thing we can't manage our genetics. One thing we can manage is our stress levels. And we have some ways. Thanks for your tips. We have 5 tips to become stress-free. The first is to identify the source of your stress.
Right. Figure out what's really upsetting you. We know that job, finances, kids are some of the major stressors for women. So first figure it out because, you need to know what's bothering you the most.
You know what's nice about that, too? Because a lot of times people just say the big picture. Oh, I'm so stressed. My life is so stressful. But if you break it down and maybe even take out a pen and paper and write down the things that are your stressors, you can then start to problem solve their solutions.
Right, because if everything's just out there, it tends to feel like, oh, I'm overwhelmed, there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, it's not always the always or the everythings, it's those little things.
It's the little things, and once you feel a sense of control, you tend to feel better. I had a patient say to me one day, she was a young kid, she said, I know when I feel anxious, it's when I feel I have no control.
Now, and those are called stress signals. How do you learn what yours are? Because everybody's are different.
Yeah, you have to learn to recognize what am I like when I'm stressed, and you may have to ask somebody, because somebody might, if you aren't aware, somebody might recognize, you know what, you tap your foot, you go like this all the time, or your body gets tense, or you tend to eat a whole bunch of stuff that's junk. You may not be able to concentrate, so you may discover you're not sleeping well and having lots of somatic symptoms, like women tend to get headaches, stomach aches, those kinds of things.
So you need to internalize it and think about how that stress makes you feel, because those aren't good feelings.
No, definitely not. And then once you know what they are, then you can set yourself up to figure out ways to manage them.
How can you, though? Because a lot of things, it seems like an insurmountable mountain when you're thinking about the stressors of your job, paying your mortgage. How can you effectively manage stress when some of those big things aren't going away?
Well, you can really stop to think about what do I have control over. The Serenity Prayer, which is part of AA, really focuses on what do I have control over, what can I change, what can't I change, and how do I know the difference. So there are some things we can always control, and one of them is our breathing. Doing abdominal breathing is one of the #1 ways of helping yourself relax. And it's a yoga breathing. It's a very different kind of breathing where you breathe in through your nose very slowly and out through your mouth. That is really fabulous. It's a great way. Other things, looking at your diet. Are you snacking? Are you drinking too much? All of the things. What am I doing when I'm stressed out? And then what other kinds of things can I turn to that might be healthier?
Well, I think a lot of people turn to the electronics, but one of your tips is to unplug your electronics.
Absolutely. I had an epiphany one night at 10 o'clock. I was lying in bed reading a book, and I thought, I'll check my email. There was an email from a patient, and as I started to answer it, I went, no. There's a boundary here.
Exactly.
I am trying to teach my patients boundaries, and you know what? I just didn't answer it, and I said, you know what? I have stopped checking my email at 10 o'clock at night. And if I do check it, unless it's an absolute emergency, I will not respond.
But you know what's nice and comforting, though? If someone like you sometimes has these stressors, sometimes makes these mistakes, that means we're all human. If you do it, we're all going to do it, but it's okay.
It is. I mean, the big thing is that we are all under so much pressure. We're multitasking, we're working, we have kids, we have all these things going on, we have pets. And figuring out what's going on, finding ways to go for walks, maybe have a healthier diet, get that exercise, and relax, listening to music, figuring out how to do those things really can help you protect your heart, because all of these tips that we're talking about for stress are ways of protecting your heart.
It's a great point. We always talk about so many ways to help others, but you can't be of good service to other people unless you're helping and you're healthy and you're taking care of yourself.
Right, and as a mom and a family, you remember that you're the head of the ship. And if you're struggling, seek support. Go talk to a psychologist, and they can help you sort some of this out. And remember, the side effects of talking to a psychologist are a better life.
That's true. That's your negative side effect, is that you'll be happier. And if it's not a psychologist at first, it can be a family, friends, because as long as you're getting it out and you're not letting it eat up you inside, as long as you can get it out, it's for the best.
Yeah, I mean, I have girlfriends, and those are some of the best things. I think women use their girlfriends really in a healthy way. I don't think men do the same thing.
Well, I'm going to start. I'm going to start using all my guy friends out there. I'm going to call them up, tell them about my problems.
And then they're going to say,
no,
what?
you're kidding? No, they're going to say they're going to be there for me and supportive.
They are.
Everyone needs to talk to a buddy.
Absolutely.
Or as a trained person if the buddy's not helping.
That's it. It helps us be resilient, not isolating, having a network of support around us.
Thank you so much for stopping
You're
by
welcome.
today. More
A pleasure.
information on our website, mymassappeal.com.